Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody? Can XRP hit 1589 by 2125? That's the big question that everybody is pondering today. It is not a typo. 2125. That's 102 years from now. We're going to talk about that. There are some serious matters to cover, like brand new crypto tax rules that are being proposed by this administration. A lot of great things happening, building in this space. We always like to look and see what new things are going on. How is this space growing, developing, expanding? Western Union, is something going on over there? Big financial giants entering the space, getting ready to use the XRPL. That's really interesting. Chip, you ready to kick this thing off?
I'm ready to go. You ready? Let's do this. Let's
Do
go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Morning.
Everybody, drop where you're coming in from. Let's get this party started.
Drop it
Happy
all the time.
weekend. Happy Saturday. Happy Sunday if you're approaching Sunday and wherever you guys are. I mean, it's always great to have you guys
Could
with us,
almost
right,
be
Jeff?
Sunday. It could almost be Sunday in some places.
It could almost be Sunday, yeah. Actually, it is. Let's see, 12, 14. We have 14 hours. Yeah, 14 hours. We definitely can do that. It's possible,
doable.
Jeff.
It's
all
doable.
doable. It's all doable. Let's start off. Let's start off with the. Look at everybody popping here. Liz Taylor's in here today. Liz Taylor's saying hello to everybody.
What is going on?
Oh, she was up early today because I was looking at. It's Becky. What's going on? How are you? Good
Jim
to see
D.
you. Crypto Light. Jim D's in here.
Jim D.
Devon's in here.
All right, here's one. Here's one right here. Mark is from the rock and roll capital of the world.
Cleveland.
Cleveland rocks.
Cleveland, Ohio, baby. I love when people do stuff like that. Like, what is? I always like to drop that. Like, what is your city famous for? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The beach.
Ours is famous for
Horses.
freedom, where we live. It's famous for zero taxes, zero state taxes. If you can move to New York, and if you're one of the displaced people who doesn't have a job, don't worry about it because they're going to do a special program for people who just showed up. Just walked across the imaginary border and they just showed up and they're going to get jobs. So
Detroit, Motown.
Well, that's no, not Detroit.
Automotive.
I would say automotive. Yeah, automotive. Miami Beach. In the house, right down the road from us, Jeff.
Not too far. That's really good.
Alex in the house from Mar-a-Lago. Like Alex is always he's constantly messing.
Now, let's see if anyone can guess. Station 4. Where's Station 4 from? Hanging Chads.
That's up in Tallahassee there. It's got to be Tallahassee area.
Hanging Chads was a little bit south.
Was it south?
Or like Palm Beach.
Is that where the Tallahassee were? I thought it was up
the
north.
Whole falling out was all here in Palm Beach area ish.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe that's Palm Beach County. Let's see. Oh, Tallahassee. I nailed it. Bam.
Is Tallahassee really? Is that well, that would be the capital, but is that the capital of the Hanging Chads? I get it.
The capital of the Hanging Chads, right? Yeah, Tallahassee.
I was reading it wrong. Yes.
Yeah, that's where my kid goes to school.
Yes. All right. What do we got? What do we got going?
Well, we got a couple things going. I thought we'd start off with the Ripple Minute. Those are always pretty entertaining to watch.
We got free steak. That's what we got.
Yeah, we got to do our steak, dude. When do we get in our steak? And why do we have to go up there? You guys are the losers. You come down here or go to freaking steakhouse down here. What the hell? Why are we coming up there? You guys lost? What the hell? What's wrong with you guys? Let's watch this. This is Mr. Barry. He runs the what does he run over there? Let me tell you what he runs there. He runs the he's head of payments. Yep. Brendon Barry. This is Brendon Barry with a new Ripple Minute. I think they start the timer later so they can make it a minute. If you ever do these things, this is the best part about it. If you ever do this, like Jeff and I do this live, so it's great. We play off each other. I was Jeff was doing some work functions, and I was doing the show myself, doing a lot of talking. But I will say that the funniest thing about these, what was I going to say, Jeff? I totally lost my train of thought. I was like,
You're talking about timing, and these guys start their timer because it's the XRP minute,
yeah,
but it's probably
because
longer than a minute.
I was going to say, well, I used to do the XRP minute. Is what I was going to say is like the XRP minute that I used to do. People are like, shit, it's really longer than a minute. I'm like, what was supposed to be like the XRP minute? Like you would just get like a small dosage, and then it turned into like an hour live stream, and then it turned into on the chain. But when you try to do this over and over again, I guarantee you this doesn't happen in 5 or 10 takes. It probably is like more like 15. To get it smooth all the way without screwing something up.
All right, let's pull it up.
Let's do it.
Blockchain improved payments.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Brendon Berry, and this is Crypto in a Minute. So when I think about payments, the 3 core concepts that need to be improved upon are cost, speed, and reliability. When you make a payment within your country, those are not things that you think about because most countries or systems have already solved for those problems. But when you make a payment across countries, that's where friction between systems increases cost, decreases reliability, and ultimately makes the payment much more slow. With blockchain, the technology was created, purpose-built to solve those problems. So when you can use blockchain or cryptocurrency to move funds, you can now do so to anyone in the globe instantaneously at a low cost, very high speed with extremely high reliability.
Not a time.
6.
I made it under a minute.
4. Oh, okay, there you go. He was happy because he's like, holy crap, we got a good take. Jeff, what did you think about what he said there?
So, it's interesting. One thing that he brought up was he said something really important. He talked about solutions, right? That there's a solution out there, that crypto was a solution to a problem. One of the issues that we see within the crypto space is that have been a lot of projects, and we saw that in the .com era as well, that there's a lot of projects that are built that are solutions looking for a problem, right? And so I think that let's get that out there. Number one, this is an actual problem, but he did reference something that most countries internally have, for the most part, solved the friction of fast payment internally. And I would say that with a caveat, from a B2B perspective, I don't think that it's been solved 100%. I think there's still friction on a cross-border perspective. 100%. Moving money is extremely difficult still. You can do bank wires, you can do ACH. ACH can still be withdrawn. Bank wires can take 3 to 5 days. There's zero transparency. Money can still get tied up for long periods of time. Many times you need letters of credit in B2B transactions. And if you're just moving it to a friend or a family member, it's difficult. You have to go to Western Union, or you're running around spinning your wheels trying to figure out how to move money across borders. So I would say yes to that. Internally, I keep thinking about credit cards. Credit cards are super easy to use. If I'm going to the store, I'm going to use a credit card. If you want to make a big purchase, though, this is where you run into issues potentially. If you have cash sitting in the bank and you want to go and buy a car, for instance, you can write a check, you can do an ACH, you can do a bank wire, but the money's not going to move that fast. And so there's still going to be, some friction there, on the larger scale, to see rapid movement of money. Is crypto the answer? Is a central bank digital currency the answer, Chip?
I'm going to go with no. I don't think it's an answer to anything. I think I want to back up a step before that. I don't want to rant about central banks, but I wanted to address this comment that he made, because this one is, I want to play it again because he talks about with blockchain. Here, let me just back it up just a second, but let's listen to this again. Here he says,
with blockchain, the technology was created, purpose-built to solve those problems.
Yep.
So I take a little bit of issue with that because, I mean, there's some overgeneralization. I think what he meant to say that there are some people in the blockchain space that have purpose-built technology to solve the problems. It didn't come off that way. Like, wait a minute, that's not, blockchain wasn't purpose-built to solve problems, but not to solve what he just was talking about, which was the cross-border, the friction that happens. And
Right.
the blockchain does eliminate a lot of friction, which is part of it. I don't know. It's kind of a,
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
it's a very small, subtle thing, but again, I know what he's really what the clue in here on is his idea about friction.
Right. But what do you think? I mean, if you were to compare, so Bitcoin being, the first mover, and then you have the XRPL. XRPL very clearly, designed for cross-border transaction, moving money fast. Bitcoin, there's still, arguments to be made as to why it rolled out. It was the first test net that came out to see if blockchain money can actually and transaction can actually be functional. But there was a lot of talk in the early days that that Bitcoin was going to be a replacement for all banking. So how would you draw? And he does all this in under a minute, and we're going to take about an hour to talk about this.
But if you were the whole video, the whole entire video, we're going to talk about it. He said it so succinctly,
How would you draw that comparative? So he's talking about blockchain, but we can draw a distinction here of blockchains, to your point. Bitcoin versus XRPL.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think originally the conception of Bitcoin was, I mean, it's interesting when you look at when it was created. You had the 2008, 2009 meltdown, right? You had all this bad paper that these institutions were purchasing, and they were just like passing it on from this one to this one, right? It was garbage. Everybody knew it at the time, but in that burn down as an alternate, and you had people hypothesizing in the 90s, you had even people like David Schwartz talking about this sort of a decentralized sort of exchange of value. So I think that the original thing was, I bring it back to your point, Jeff. You always said that, the whole thing was, we don't really know what Bitcoin was intended for, because Satoshi had that last tweet that they weren't quite done. And then all of a sudden, no more Satoshi, and then it's done. And then Craig Ray comes in and says, I'm Satoshi. And everyone's like, dude, we know you're not Satoshi, okay? We know you got a lot of Bitcoin, but if you're Satoshi, move just a sat from the Satoshi Nakamoto's, what do they call him in Congress? Nashimoto? I don't even know. There's some weird Nacho-moto. I don't know.
Satoshi.
All you have to do is move just like a fraction, right? Just send a couple sats. Send one Bitcoin from the Satoshi wallet. If you send it to this wallet address, we'll send it back. But we just want to see if you really never move.
That's all you have to do in the court.
As in touch. I mean, it's like we don't have to go into court and talk about papers, and just do that. But I think that I don't know that Bitcoin was fully realized, and I think that was something that was evident that David Schwartz and Jed McCaleb, when Jed McCaleb's really kind of the mastermind who kind of pulled it all together. They had OpenCoin, they had Ryan, what was his name? Ryan, who's the guy that started the OpenCoin, the original Ripple.
We can't forget about OpenCoin.
Yeah, was it OpenCoin? Is that what their name was? What was it called?
I think so.
And then it became the Ripple and everything else. Right. Something like that. So they'll always let us know in the comments. But I think that they saw the shortcomings of what didn't happen, maybe what the original intent was. So what I like about blockchain is it is solving problems. I mean, there are a lot of, we've come a long way. We really have. And in just a very short few years, we've come a long way. And Ripple is one of those companies out there. But XRP price doesn't moon. Just kind of like, let's shift up the subject a little bit here. But if you think about it, Jeff, it's like the Bitcoin as the first mover that sparked pretty much, it was the proverbial, one that dug the well from everybody else to drink with, right? Everybody else had the option to then drink by it. And, we put this up, can XRP hit 1589 by 2125? Like, can it do it? Is it possible? Is it? Yeah, anything is possible. And of course, we got some funny comments here. Everybody had a good laugh. Carlos Cerruta said 21.25. Might as well get out now then. Cash out, get ready for when it drops back down to 10 cents, as per a few TA. PR XRP said, yeah, check it out, Jeff. It's just after midnight over there in Big Diomede Island over there.
Oh, see, there you go.
Talking to somebody from the future. They're in the future, Jeff. And we got this one from, I'm not even going to attempt that. Moment of Zeus. I don't know what the hell that. 21.25 will probably all be extinct by then. Do you think? We won't be extinct, but I always have this thought in my head, like I'll be doing something and I'll remember that in 110 years, everybody living right now will be dead. That's a gimme, right? So I'm like, that's just so morbid, because you look back at those films from like the 1900s, and people are walking and they're having fun, and they're all dead. Every one of them is dead.
However, with the development of AI, maybe in a couple of years, we'll be transferring our consciousness over into an AI bot.
We'll still be doing a show, Jeff. And we'll still be at 25,000 subs. It's 25 years from now. It's still 25. Well, at that point, as our attrition happens, we'll be down to like 21,000 at that point. And then we can have everybody's collective consciousness in the chat. Oh, that's perfect. That's a beautiful thing, Jeff.
No, it's awesome. It's a nice play on just the semantics of all of it. You know, the crypto space going through some bear market, so you have to have a little bit of levity with the whole situation. You know, does anybody have an exact predictor of where the market's going? We know the market is trending up. We know it's going to be massive. It's just a matter of time. You know, it's out there. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. Question is, where does it go to? And the markets, and we talked about this the other day, Chip. I'm going to stick to that. The markets are going to move together with the general market, right? So when
the markets are going to move together.
The crypto market is going to move in tandem with the general stock market, I should say, with stock, FX, whatever commodities, whatever you want to phrase it as. Right now, we're going through the economic situation globally. I think we're still going, in the U.S. specifically, going through a recessionary period. We're seeing prices go up significantly. I think people are getting tapped out, to an extent. But within a short period of time, when we get out of the bear market, start heading back into a bull market cycle, we're going to start seeing, bigger and bigger gains across the board. We're already starting to see, some representation of that. There's going to be some positives coming out, but we need that full trend. So the markets, all seem to, flow in tandem with each other. Crypto has been a safe haven potentially for a lot of countries out there, but it's not enough to move the market into a bull cycle. That's kind of how I look at it. I could be completely off base, but give it, a year, we'll see where we're at. I think the next election cycle here in the U.S. is going to cause a lot of excitement.
Yeah. And then the resident in the White House who doesn't know where he is right now. And who knows? We don't either. 45%. No, I think it was like 45 or 50% on vacation. The other 50% checked out. So there you go. So there, Becky wants to know. She's like, I hope you meant 2025. No, we didn't. No, actually, we did mean exactly that. But also, did you know that Becky's Forbes's town, her hometown, is known for a 35-foot tall penguin? Coldest spot in the nation. My God, that's where the hell is that?
Alaska?
Becky?
Could that be Alaska?
It could be. Probably
in be cold. Minnesota,
North Dakota.
Minnesota gets cold potentially. But here's another one. So in Miami, the Dodge camper van, Ripple are working on a fixed price to buy back XRP for 10,000. But there's a lot of conversation over that. Where does we think about a lot of statement from Schwartz and some others in terms of what is the capability of the token? What was it meant to be at? What direction are things going in? I think it's great. Oh, there you go. Montana. We're pretty close.
Montana. I was thinking of something. Montana. There you go. Cut Bank,
trying to-
Montana.
Cut Bank, sweet.
Montana. There you go. Yeah, Montana is
But-
beautiful in the summer. But my gosh, I'm not sure I want to be there in the wintertime. Look at this right
Gotta
there,
get to the
Jeff.
coldest place on earth.
An awful
So,
small.
oh
cup of
yeah,
coffee.
I saw that. I tagged that one. I think that it is a very small cup of coffee, and it is espresso. And as you bring up coffee, since you bring up coffee, and if you guys haven't done so already, you can see it in the description link below, and you want to support On the Chain. There's an Obsidian Bold. Here is it's kind of hard to see it, a Noir Symphony. These are both dark roast coffees from Badass Yetis. And so we highly recommend it. These are whole bean. You can get it ground. You can get it in K cups. We have a medium blend and a lighter medium blend, a breakfast blend. Highly recommend checking it out. Go to the Badass Yetis coffee, and you can see it. We'll put a link here in the chat in a second.
BadassYetisCoffee.com. And is it good?
BadassYetisCoffee.com. Nope,
I just want to know one thing. Is it any good?
it isn't, Chip.
Is it any good, Jeff?
Man, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, there you go. There it is right there. You see right there? We don't lie right there. Is it any good? No. It really is. And like anybody that's actually had, we got repeat buyers, which we like. But again,
it's really good.
This one here, the Brewed Awakening right here. That's how you get your Badass Yeti on in the morning right there. You unleash your inner Yeti every morning with one of these breakfast blends, this Brewed Awakening, which is really good. But yeah, I'm drinking right now. I'm drinking the 6 bean blend, which is the Noir Symphony. I had some Obsidian Bold yesterday, and you're like, yeah, it's priced a little bit higher because it's roasted to order. If you've never had roast to order, it's a whole new experience. Because what happened, Jeff? We got all messed up here. Because most of the beans you have, the ground ones have probably been sitting for 6 to 8 months on a shelf somewhere. Gets dried out. The flavor changes when they're fresh roasted. Open up. We recommend full bean, the whole bean rather. And when you open it up and you just look in there, you can see a little bit of the oils. You can see the crispness of the crunch. It really is an amazing. If our name's on it, it has to be phenomenal. So
you order it.
Our name's not on it, Jeff.
Yeah, you order it. It gets roasted. It gets shipped. It's amazing. I'll sit there and just eat beans direct. I love it.
Yeah, you know what? I've actually crisped a couple of badass Yeti beans in myself. I'm not even kidding.
Yep, it's good. So Paul Phillips, I'm glad we're seeing some new names popping in here into the chat. If you guys are brand new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Check us out. We do stream 3 days a week, so it's always a lot of fun. Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday at 8 p.m., and Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. And then we have some short videos that are cut up by Hans. So that's always great too. But Paul Phillips is saying XRP hitting 2.68 in next bull run would be 1,123 circa 2025. I like seeing all the guys that are up on the TA and understand how to read all the different lines and predictions and kind of follow the whole trend of the market, which is great. And Jim the Meek is wondering if the Yeti's coffee beans are from one of the BRICS nations, and it they're not. They source them from all over the world. The beans, but there's a lot from South America. Not so much from Brazil, but there you go. Not from India, not from China, not from Russia, and not from South Africa.
Yeah, the BRICS. Yeah, the whole thing about BRICS, if you want, here's BRICS in a nutshell. There's the BRICS, they tell you, BRICS, it's going to be, there's not going to be the dollar's going to go away. Okay, that's what they say, but what is BRICS really? Well, if you start looking, if you break down what they were actually talking about at their little soiree, that the WEF would be in charge of this part of it, and they would have a task force, and they would have this. It just all amounts to the same globalization bullshit you've heard before time and time again. And guess what? Turns out that people don't like that. Turns out it doesn't matter where you live. We didn't like it the last 3 years. We're not going to like it any better. And it really just amounts to doing business in the native currency, which again, their blockchain solves that problem as well. Certainly XRP, the XRP ledger, can handle that. I think there's a lot of hype around this. The dollar's not going away anytime soon. The U.S. isn't going to go. You can try to bury them, but you got to look at the nations that are involved. Okay, not really known for their financial epicenters, right? They're not really known. And are these nations going to get along? So they're all going to throw in. It's fun. It's a party, right? It's like everybody jumps in. It's like, oh, we want to join. Oh, we want to join. Everyone wants to join. And then everybody joins. And it's like, what's happening with it, really? I mean, is there going to be the one currency? Are all these nations like Brazil and India and China? Is China going to throw down with any currency, a new currency that they're not going to want to control? Yeah, I'm sure it's possible. Is it going to happen? I don't see it, Jeff.
I don't see it. I think the whole thing is just hype. It's media hype. The media love it. It causes more dissension amongst the ranks, causes more division amongst the people. Think about the source of where this is coming from, and then think about, like you just said, the nations that are behind the BRICS. You want to put together a trading bloc? Great. That's awesome. Go ahead and put together the trading bloc. We're happy to see it, to see that. We saw the EU. That took a lot out of a lot of countries, destabilized countries that came on board whose currencies were not up to par. Let's say Greece, Germany, two polar opposites with the economics. Guess who carried the weight of the failing nations? Germany. The German economy had to carry the weight of the weaker EU nations when they came on board. You think that put a lot of stress on Germany? It did. The EU is still debatable with the euro in terms of but if we look at it, and compare it to the BRICS nations, the at least the euro, could be a reliable, relatively reliable, trade currency. The pound, the euro, the dollar, the yen, all relatively stable. And then you look at, like you just said, the Brazilian real, the South African rand, the Russian ruble, the Indian rupee, and then you have China. So, and their yuan, their renminbi. So if you look at those nations, all of them have very, very unstable currencies. China has manipulated their currency valuations for years. So now you put that all together to countries around the world, they want to join into BRICS. These are still major trading blocs. China, India, and Brazil are still big markets. So if you want to deal with them, if those nations are saying, hey, in order to deal with us, you have to be part of our trading bloc. Well, hey, so what? So what if all these countries join their trading bloc? That doesn't destabilize the U.S. currency, because all these other countries joining, I think Saudi Arabia, that has intention of helping to create a Europe in the Middle East. At this point, you think they're looking at China and saying, yeah, we're going to use your currency. We want you guys to be in charge of our trade currency. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. And if you think about it happening, look at, if you want to see what's great about BRICS, look at what's really great about it. Okay, you got Lula da Silva, okay, an actual guy that actually spent time in prison for massive corruption. Of course, he was jailbreaked, and then you got Bolsonaro, who was basically excommunicated from the country, and now they want to hunt him down because they don't want him running again. And you had a shady election down there, but you have an absolute, fascist. You have an absolute dictator, and has already destroyed Brazil, right? That's one of the BRICS nations, okay? South Africa, not going well down there if you're following politics in South Africa. Okay, then let's look at India. India has been pretty solid for the most part. You have a pretty solid leader, but again, emerging. They were going to kill crypto. They weren't going to kill crypto. They were going to kill crypto. It was like back and forth a bunch. And then you got China, dictator. So freedom doesn't live in BRICS nations for the most part. And a lot of the African nations that are joining because they're trying to get away from the debt that they have with the US dollar and what's eroded, what's made it most difficult, and what's really behind BRICS, the fact that all these nations owe money in the US dollar. Their debts are all tied to USD. You got the Federal Reserve here that has poorly mismanaged the debt over all this time. And if you want to go back to a time in the US, the income tax was basically largely founded because you had to fund the interest to pay to the central bank called the Federal Reserve. So there was a time in history before we had the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. All this stuff is really largely unconstitutional. That and it's in the founding documents. It's in if you look at the Federalist Papers, it rallied heavily against the whole idea of this massive taxation. Back then, they used to fund it through the government through tariffs. So what happens? In another shady turn of events, you have the central bank coming into play, and next thing you know, all of a sudden, you're paying income tax. But what you paid even back then was pittance compared to how it is today. And let's go back further in time, Jeff. The whole idea and promise of the United States, if you go back to the Boston Tea Party, taxation without representation. Going back to Great Britain when it was all one sort of a thing, everybody rebelled and said, we're not paying these taxes. You're not going to rule us. We're going to rule ourselves. And all of a sudden you had this revolution. And guess what? The U.S. is almost back to the taxation we had. You go to Great Britain, they get taxed on everything. You walked out of your house, tax. You drove a car through a checkpoint, tax. You drove a car inside of an area, tax. You have a day tax. You have a weekend tax. You have a tax for having internet. You have a tax for everything is taxed to the hilt in the UK. And guess what? The US is right behind it. Not to the same level, but it's right behind with the taxes. So basically 40 to 50% of what you make is all given in taxes. Then what do you get to do? Then you go out to buy stuff. You get to go to the store, buy something that's taxed. I mean, food isn't taxed. Buy this, buy that. Everything is taxed. So that's largely what we have in a nutshell. And the whole foundation of BRICS, I mean, you had the founding of the whole coining of BRICS in itself 20 years ago came from the US. It was all investment bankers that coined the phrase. So
yeah.
What was that comment you had up there, Jeff?
So there's actually a couple of really good ones. Jim D said, the truth is most of the BRICS nations like the West are internally balanced into different tribes, ethnicities, and culture. Nations are fake. So there's definitely, destabilizing factors there, and you can see how just at large, there's still going to be a lot of internal turmoil and struggle. Liz is saying, I believe we'll see India overtake China as a world power in years to come. I agree with that also. India cannot stand China. It doesn't make any sense to see how India and China, but since let's say there was BRICS without India, India is not going to allow China to continue regional dominance either. So these are all nations, and we saw some other comment here from Becky. The rest of the world sick and tired of the U.S. as a bully. Biden kicking Russia off of SWIFT just exacerbated things. And I think that, when you have SWIFT and you have the boycotts and you have the banning, it's one tool. The financial tool is powerful because what is the other option, right? If you want to hold a nation to account, as long as all the world, agrees, and you say to like Russia, hey, we're not happy with what you're doing, or Iran or China saying we're not happy with what you're doing, so we're going to limit your access to SWIFT to moving money, right? That's why we started the show with the Ripple Minute, talking about moving money. That's a big issue, because if you can't use SWIFT to move money, or at least communicate the movement of money, because as we all know, that's how banks communicate with each other, which is through SWIFT. Russia has their own SWIFT that they put in place years ago. So, in theory, they could use that. But then you'd have to have banks that would be participating. But that is the one tactic. Hey, you're going to get cut off from the rest of the world. You're not going to be able to move money. It's either that or you go to war, right? What are the options from a diplomatic perspective? It's either financial or military conflict, right? I would rather see financial penalty than military conflict penalty. But but to that point, if you have an administration like right now that does things that are so erratic on a global scale, off-putting to our allies in the Middle East, trying to destabilize the Middle East again, off-putting to Russia, off-putting to China, off-putting to everywhere. There is no diplomatic measure that's taking place right now. And since we have elections and in 4-year cycles, sometimes policies changed and shift in the U.S. Not so drastic, but sometimes it's personality changes, and that does disrupt things. The rest of the world, you have a leader that's there for decades. It's a little bit different. So that's it.
Yeah, I wanted to put this comment up here. So Steve Walker says, watching the EPL while listening to you guys, the U.S. is total shite. Jeff, Chip, flying the dying flag. They might hate each other, but they're all sick of the U.S. Here's what I'll say. What I'd like to do immediately, pull out of these countries, let them destroy themselves. We're not the policemen of the world. I'm with you on that. Go ahead. Have it alone. Figure it out. No more money to any of these countries. We take care of our own. You guys are on your own. Forget about protecting Europe. Europe has fallen. Europe is done. If you don't think you're conquered, you're conquered. The U.S., close, but not yet. But if you don't think you're conquered, pay attention to where the immigration has been into Europe, and it's been low-skilled workers. And not replacing the birth rate. What does that mean? That means imminent collapse and takeover. You're done. Europe is done. It's already a graveyard. And if you want to know, Saudi Arabia is taking it over. Then you just had that. Who was that came out recently and just said, Europe is ours for the taking. Done. Already done in the book. So you can write the U.S. off. A lot of things will come to light over the next couple of months that we're going to see here. And if you think that a dementia patient got the most votes, even more than Barack Obama, who was a political figure that had a real following and had a real message, and got more votes than Barack Obama, 81 million votes. And you think a dementia patient was able to do that, who ran a campaign out of the basement and 7 people showed up at a rally? I think we could read between the lines there. I think we can kind of see what's going on there. But I will say that when you get a real president and you get the actual president back in the White House, the one that's been indicted 4 times, they're trying to take out and only make it more popular. So much so, Jeff, that I'm starting to see the videos fly from people who said I would never vote for them, but that mugshot is gangsta, and I am voting right now. I don't care. I mean, because that guy gets I'm voting. Even from prison, I'm going to vote.
There's a lot of it. It's amazing.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, forget about taking care of. Forget about being the nanny. Forget about taking care of it. Destroy yourselves. No more money. Cut off. No more security. We pull all of our troops home. We put them on the border, and then we insulate the U.S. What's a country? Language, culture, borders. You lose language, you lose your culture, and you lose your borders. You're not a nation, going back to what Jim D just said. It's all largely fabrication. And the way I look at it is that go ahead, have at it, and, I would just say that, yeah, you got to imagine that the people in the US, am I happy going and fighting other people's wars? Never have been. Do I want the CIA installing dictators or people that are supposedly on our side? Most people in the U.S. are against war. It always backfires. We're against all of that stuff, right? So leadership has a lot to do with it. The previous leader, no wars, no conflicts, pull them all back home. You guys got a conflict, figure it out. Things aren't working out in Ukraine. That's too bad. You got 300,000 dead. Knock out the whole entire country. Have at it. You think you're going to go up against Russia and you think you're going to win, and you think you're going to spread propaganda that we're winning the war, we're making a difference. You're just leading people to the slaughter. 50,000.
That on purpose, though. That was on purpose.
It's all manufactured. But World War III,
manufactured.
But World War III
manufactured. This administration pushed them into it, gave them a false sense that they're going to be supported on a long term. They're fighting a war over there. People are dying because of this administration. That's all you can say. Because if you look at Russia's history, like within Georgia and other border conflicts, they went in, they pulled out, they made their point known, and they pulled back. They weren't looking for a full, ongoing conflict and war at this point in time. That's what I believe. Just based on the history, I think it was a huge mistake. I think they pushed the hand. There's also other things that are being covered up that we'll soon find out in terms of what certain people within this administration did or didn't do in relation to Ukraine. Because this thing with the Ukraine dates back to like 2014. There was a lot of turmoil, a lot of things going on over there that if you go back and read the press and read the history on that, you'll say, hey, there's something a little shady going on with that whole situation. What are they covering up? But this all, we're entering an interesting phase right now. Again, starting with that Ripple minute, I think it was really important because we're talking about cross-border payment movement. We're looking at the changing of the economic infrastructures on a global scale. Was Bitcoin the initiator for this impetus? Was the last couple years that we went through with the whole COVID thing, was that an impetus to start moving us into a digital currency environment? Why now? There's a lot of talk about the central bank digital currencies, the digital dollars, programmability. There's all these things, invasion of privacy. There's all these issues that are going on right now that are being discussed, and there should be a lot of concern over that. We don't really need a digital currency per se. We have credit card. If I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to use a credit card. If I want to use cash, I'll use cash. Why do you have to digitize my dollar? Why do we need a CBDC?
It's already digitized. It's already digitized.
It's already digitized to that extent. But I'm going to use a credit card if I'm going to the store. It was interesting being over in both England and France. Over the past few weeks, it just seen based on a comparative from the last time, pre-COVID, when I was over in Europe, and that was kind of the beginning. Credit cards were they were accepted, but it wasn't like predominant. Now it was predominant. When you pulled out cash, it was weird seeing people's faces when I pulled out cash, like, oh, you're going to pay with cash. Like, here, everything was a credit card. It's like, here's a credit card, use a credit card, use a credit, here it's like,
I don't like the way you use the word credit card. Credit card is a debt system. Most of the time it's taxed at 20%. An Amex you pay off every month, but some sort of a card, right? It's a card,
whatever,
a credit card.
But they accepted Amex everywhere. Before accepting Amex, almost nobody accepted Amex. Now everywhere you go, Amex everywhere. It wasn't an issue. It was it was a lot different.
Yeah, so if you guys want to throw down with, and this is the part that I love about the community, right? Especially the XRP community. They're like, man, let's head to the precipice. Let's go over. Who cares? We'll go down. We'll have rich bags. You'll have zero freedom because it'll all be destroyed, and nobody speaks out against it. I've taken so much incoming, and I'm like, back it up. We don't want the central bank. I'll make a prediction. Federal Reserve's going away. It's not going to last. It's already destroyed itself. It's the two tenets it's responsible for is getting inflation under control and jobs. What happens when you raise interest rates? You crush jobs. What happens, with the inflation? They go like, and they're measuring the change of inflation over the period of a year. Measure it since 71 when we came off of the gold standard. Go back to the early 1900s of when the Federal Reserve came into being. Now you go like, okay, so what was I able to buy in the 1970s, the 1980s? And wages were lower, but your dollar, your currency went further. It went further in your nation. And you look in Great Britain in the 1970s, it was horrific. It was like the inflation over there was just unbearable. You look at what happened throughout the 80s and the 90s, and everyone's trying to measure it over the last 6 to 8 months, and then they're not putting essentials like, we're not going to look at food in this, we're not going to look at clothing, we're just going to look at the things that make everything, the stats look good, which is fine, you can do that. But people aren't stupid. The one thing that I've come to realize over the last 3 years is my faith in, and I guess how absolutely bullish I am on humankind, because I found out that we're fed up. We're not taking it. would rather have decentralization. You're not taking away crypto. To me, the best thing that's ever happened in 3 years was the rise of decentralization and this theory that we don't need politicians anymore. Somebody had a great comment here, Jeff. I wanted to pull this up here. And this is let me see if I can find it here. But somebody had asked about, will we have an AI president? That's an interesting thought, right? Do you think we'll have an AI president right here in our lifetime? This is Paul Phillips. Paul Phillips is asking, an AI. Well, what we might have is more of a decentralized.
Hey, we already do.
Entity. Well, we don't even have an AI president. We have a resident. I mean, baby, I'm getting to the point right now where this is so it's almost parody. I'm like, it's beyond parody. Any news clip that I see, I only have to watch it half a minute. But and if you want to know why the money's flowing into Ukraine, it has nothing to do with salvaging Ukraine. It has nothing to do with Russia. None of that. That's called CYA. Cover your ass. They paid good hard money to be reimbursed, right? The 20 shell companies, all this other stuff that went down. Everyone's like, oh yeah, but that's nothing. Yeah, because most people that end up in, that's why I look at someone like a Trump, right? Guy's been in business forever. Guy's kept clean forever. And he did something incredibly brilliant, Jeff. He does a lot of brilliant chess moves that I think like people miss it. One of the things is like, hey, no, you want my tax returns? Can't have them. And they're like, we want them. Nah, it's under audit. Can't have them. We're going to get him. We're going to take him down. When we see his tax return, what a cheat he's been. He's been screwing everybody for years. And what happens? It escalates up to the Supreme Court, and he has to release his tax returns. And there's a big party everywhere in the mainstream media. We got his tax returns. They go through it. They get all the exhibits clean. Can't find a damn thing. But a precedent was set because now you have a former president whose taxes were released, went to the Supreme Court. Guess who else taxes are coming out? Any president, any member of Congress, audit them, audit their families. Let's expose the corruption. You can't say it didn't happen. Wait a minute, you can't go after an ex-president. Oh, wait a minute, what's this? 4 indictments. A lot of brilliant things are going on there, and it just keeps baiting. You couldn't overturn the election. Pence couldn't send them back to the States. It's not a legal move. It couldn't happen. What happens a couple months later? They actually changed the rule that the vice president now can't do it, which meant at the time they could. So if you got to be paying attention to see what's going on, what does that mean for the next election? Well, that means that the vice president will not be able to do that. They took that away. Who do they think they're hurting? They think they're hurting the other team when in fact they're destroying themselves. And the famous word, Jeff, never interrupt your enemy when they're in the process of destroying themselves. Sit back, eat the popcorn.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. Some comments here. Station C4. It's not about digitizing money. Money is already digital. It's about utilizing DLT for money to make it more liquid, easier to move around, and control. I think that's a solid point right
Absolutely.
there. We've got hydroponics. Alan, thanks to Russia, China, and the BRIC nations, we are at the gold standard right now. It
gold's coming back.
Opens up a lot of eyes. Hans Loaded was saying, Jim D, he always has such great insight. And he said we should bring him on as a guest host, which would be great. But Jim D is saying, thanks for the support, guys. But I try to keep my internet presence anonymous. Let Jeff and Chip be on the target of the security apparatus. Not me.
You can come on there. You don't have to show your face.
Right. You can still come on. We can bring you in via audio. That'd be kind of cool. A lot of great things here. Devon Steve, when I first heard of CBDCs, I thought good idea. This last year or so, not so much. No safeguards for retail people, totally programmable by the state. Not good.
Yes.
Right.
Very true.
Let's see. Jim D, we have a puppet president. I think Obama's pulling most of the strings. Tom Nielsen, why are we talking about what would be in 100 years when nobody knows what next week will bring? That's a
because
very
it's
good point.
because it's fun. That's why. Because
That's
there's so much scams going on right now in the XRP community. It's just getting ridiculous. You want to see the goat? There's the goat right there. That's Brad Garlinghouse.
that.
Someone
Look at
said it
that.
was. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh no.
Zach Rector said that was Brad Garlinghouse, and there's the greatest. There's the greatest of all time for Voldy, and there's the goat. I don't know if is that Brad? Kind of looks like him.
It's hard to say without a beard.
Yeah, and his teeth look different too. So I don't know. Maybe, but he's saying legend. I don't know if that says that's Brad Garlinghouse. So Brad's thrilled that somebody tweeted that picture already or X'd it out. I don't know how you would say it with the thing.
He's been X'd. He's been X'd.
He's been X'd out there, you know.
Dirk is saying, why do we need presidents, kings, and queens? That's right. We just do some AI.
Decentralization, man.
That's right. We've got Epitox. I'm pretty sure the 2125 date was sarcasm because XRP never freaking moves. That's right. And here we go. Spurs are up 2-0 with 2 missed kicks. Unbelievable. You know what? I saw the Saturday night. I was at the Spurs Manchester United game, and it was outstanding. That was one of the best games I think of just experiences being in a stadium, which was very, very cool.
You know, the best game I've experienced in a stadium? 1997, Jeff, when the Florida Marlins won the World Pennant Game 7.
Wow.
11
nice.
innings, 20 rows off first base. Watched my team win it all. That was the most exciting game and the longest damn game and a hot damn game. So there you go. But Jeff, I wanted to put this up here. Something really exciting is going on today, guys. I want to get it out there. But today, this is actually today. This was put out yesterday, but a great charity event for St Jude, a great organization that helps, children with cancer. They don't ask for money. You bring the kid and they do whatever they can to save that child. Free NFTs are given. We are also participating in this with Badass Yetis. There's a community art contest vote. I actually created something for that, but then I never had a chance to submit it on time. But all live streamed on twitch.tv/XRP.cafe, 60+ project, multi-chain. Come join, have some fun, win some NFTs. That is today, the 26th. So today at 2 p.m. Eastern time, a couple hours from now. But this is going to be a great event. We're partaking in it in the sense that we're going to be giving Badass Yetis away. But again, this is a great. Why does it always go back to that view? By the way, I was on
the full screen. Very cool.
Yeah, I was on the live stream yesterday with one of the people from StreamYard, and she actually answered my question. I was like, "Hey, is there any way to actually do a default thing?" She's like, "No, you have to do. Here's the workaround. You kind of have to make sure it's selected, and then when you come off of that, select it again. You can't remove something from the screen. You got to select that view, and then you end up clicking one of them twice because then it's not removed, and it's just a mess, Jeff.
But the full screen is so much nicer.
Very cool. Yeah, I just I created that view today. It's like so much better. We don't have all that garbage in there. You can just see us
like that,
and it feels.
But why is this? Why is this opposite? That was the last view. Where's the other view? Oh, I see it over here. We need to kind of move it. I see it over here, but it's weird. Why is it like flip flops our images?
Yeah, it does do that in a weird way, right?
Like,
so, the hell, Jeff. You're right. If we put that one on and then we go here, we're flip flopped. It's freaking weird. I don't know. I can't quite explain what's going on. Let's see.
All right, man. We had so much stuff. We ended up talking about bricks a very long time.
Well, Jeff,
a lot of other cool stuff to talk about. Even this brand new crypto tax reporting rules that the administration unveiled.
If I wanted to laugh, really, I mean, I've had I probably haven't laughed this hard in a long time. India, the BRICS nation, they're all sitting there with Modi, right? They're all around, and they got this control thing, and they're gonna land on the moon. And the animation is horrific. And honestly, I don't think anybody's actually on the moon. I don't think it's actually happened. But I'm like looking at this animation. But if you want to be outdone, don't worry, Jeff. There's always something better that can be outdone because And I don't know if you guys would follow that, but just go Google that and look at India landing on the moon. And they're looking at this like animation from, I've seen better animations in the 1970s. I don't know what happened. And because I know that I know they've got a lot of talented people there, but Jeff, did you see the animation, how horrific it was?
I didn't. Was that what it was the China landing on Mars and that whole animation, was that real or fake? Was that fake? I mean, was that just like a joke? Was that a joke?
It's
No,
all
but that
fake.
one with China landing on Mars, it looked like it was just a joke because someone said who was filming it, right? So
Well, that
there's
was
so here you
no,
have a
but Jeff,
landing, and then you have a perfect camera angle looking up at the lander coming
well,
down,
the
landing
U.S.
on
and
Mars.
Jeff, nobody's been to the moon. That's my assertion. You guys call me crazy, put the tinfoil hat on, but if you go there and you look at when the lunar module blasted off,
anti-moon.
when the U.S. blasted off the thing, you got a camera perfectly following it up as it's going up. They left the camera guy on the moon. There's two people that were in this tiny little capsule with a freaking dune buggy that costs like 40 or 60 million dollars, and it's basically a chassis from a car. It has tires on it, and how does this super heavy thing fit in there? And then you got the capsule breaking off there. It's just, come on. And then India's landing on the moon. And the funny thing is, none of these are manned, right? 50 years later, and the lunar module that lands on the moon looks exactly like the crappy tech the US used 50 years ago. I'm sure it's believable, Jeff. I'm sure it's all very believable there. Of course it's very believable. Nothing to see here. Yeah, Stu Peters tweeted this out here, X'd it out. I don't even know.
Oh, but this one, Steve Walker, there's no toilet on the lunar module.
There's another one, right? There's no toilet. There's nothing. The whole thing is a scam. The whole thing is a scam. You think that there's so many lies going on?
This was China landing on Mars, correct?
You hear this audio, Jeff?
No. Yes.
It just floated down there. How cool was that?
But that wasn't real. That was an animation, obviously.
Of course it was an animation. They're all animations. I mean, and also too, the US, they filmed it before, and then they didn't have a direct feed. So what they did was they projected it on a wall, and then the camera, all of the three major stations at ABC, NBC, and CBS shot their cameras at a wall, and they were actually filming like something that was projected. But sure, okay. Yeah. It all makes sense, right? Sure. And like, that's why we haven't been back. And that's why, I mean, okay. I'm sure it's
yeah. So I want to know who took that. It was very interesting. But Chip, here's one that's interesting to me. So up until recently, up until this landmark court case, SEC v. Ripple with Judge Torres, that gave a little bit of clarity to whether or not XRP was a security. For the most part, the Biden administration has been relatively anti-crypto. How is it now all of a sudden they're so anti-crypto that they're unveiling brand new crypto tax reporting rules? They're very quick to tax. Cryptocurrency brokers, including exchanges and payment processors, would have to report new information on user sales and exchanges of digital assets to the IRS under a proposed U.S. Treasury Department rule published on Friday. The rule is part of a broader push by Congress and regulatory authorities to crack down on crypto users who may be failing to pay their taxes.
Yeah, first of all,
they're all into wanting to collect their money.
It doesn't matter. Only Congress can pass it, and the House that controls the purse strings, the spending, is the red team. So it's none of this is happening. This is what they want to do.
Everything's so clear.
They want to destroy you, hate you. They hate the country. They hate everything. Right? This is why liberalism is a mental disorder, Jeff. Because these people, they don't care about personal freedoms. They want a collective. They want a commune atmosphere. Everything all your production funnels up to the elites, and that's how it works. That's BRICS. That's the World Economic Forum. It's the WEF. It's everything, Jeff. It's all rolled in one.
So the crypto, the rule would cover cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ether, as well as NFTs. Brokers would need to send the forms to both IRS and digital asset holders to assist. So it'd be basically a 1099. but many of the exchanges already provide 1099s.
Every one
Uh,
of them does already.
So it's something that's already there. It allows you to look at your buys and sells. There's already solutions out there to go on and figure out what your taxes would be. So now they're just pushing more rules and making it more difficult for the exchanges. But most of them are already doing 1099s. So I don't get it. But this is all part of their $1 trillion 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which included a provision that aimed to increase tax reporting requirements. It just aimed, right? It didn't require. It just aims to increase tax reporting requirements.
Stupid job.
The Treasury proposed, not voted on. Not at the time the bill was passed, it was estimated that new rules could bring in close to 28 billion over a decade. They're always looking. They want your money. Is basically what it is. Lots and lots of money. Lots and lots. And there you go.
Steve Walker, Nixon calling the lunar module on a landline. Yeah. Also, too, that if you go back to see the technology of the day, didn't have the ability to broadcast a signal back. Then it wasn't even strong enough for an audio signal back in the technology. I found some amazing research done on that analyze, scientists, analyzing all this stuff. It's comical, but look, it looked great. We won the space race. We're kings of the world. Yay, everything's great. So if that's a lie, what else is a lie? Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Jeff, let's bring back our conspiracy show. I'd love to bring back our conspiracy show. I'd love to run with that.
Hans Lotus saying at Jim D, thus Treasury now spent on Federal Reserve departments can be deployed to an auditing body for gold when they make away with the Fed. That'd be good. Emery just joined us, apparently. Why post this? Y'all be dead by then. This is ridiculous. By 21.
It is ridiculous. The whole point is ridiculous because if you have been paying attention to what's going on around the internet, around Twitter, the crypto space right here, it's all ridiculous. And that's Jeff and I using a little bit. It's called humor. It's called parody. It's called making fun of it. And it's called this. Digital Assets Daily tweeted this out. Financial giant Western Union begins experimenting with Ripple XRP, right?
Interesting.
Right? Financial begins experimenting with XRP, a bold move that highlights the evolving landscape of finance globe. Well, thank God for people like Crypto Eddie and people that do the real research and have time to call out morons. The CEO of Western Union, quoted in this article, resigned nearly 3 years ago. The source needs to be not to be shared or engaged with. Do not. And so everybody is tweeting the most outlandish stuff. And I see a lot of people retweeting it. I'm like,
because it looks good. It looks good.
Because you get paid on X now. Because if you hit a certain criteria, people are, hey, I got paid 6,000 last month, 7,000. So what does that do? It increases the FUD. I mean the garbage, opium on the internet, and everybody tweets out these outlandish things, and everyone's like, oh, it's bullcrap. And you go look at the comments, 300 comments. People saying it's good, people saying it's bad, people retweeting it. You get that engagement. Every ad that shows up inside, all the way down that post, you get paid on that. So now we've turned the internet into just a garbage dump. And thank you for Crypto Eddie for calling this. I saw this and I'm like, dude, what the hell is people? And then I saw this tweet. And I was like, what is wrong with people? And people, oh my God, and boom, Jeff, boom. Yeah, here's the fair tax. Get rid of all the tax. We're going back to reality.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a new day coming. I believe the real new day is coming here. So it's all good.
And that's it. Devon Steve said, I thought Western Union said they didn't have any money when they did the last test. There's a lot of stuff here. It's funny, people come in. Emery said, these guys just like to hear themselves talk. No facts. I don't know if he's referencing us or other people, but we bring a lot of fact.
Actually, we bring a lot of facts. That was just the fact I put up on the screen, but let's not get into facts.
That's the whole point. BGO is saying, always your thumbnails not proper. What's the problem, bro? Funny.
That's the whole point.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's how it's written. It is funny. That's the whole point.
Jeff, I go, you know what?
He could be responding to somebody else,
Hang on. Let me just say this.
It's hilarious. I love our thumbnails.
Yeah, if you want to see what's going on, Jeff and I put up a fact-based thumbnail. And want to know something? The worst performing show in the last 3 years. Facts Nobody wants facts. You're like, I want facts, bro. No. What you want is hopium. You want to tell you moon. It's mooning next week, next Thursday. Wait a minute, not next Thursday. 2 weeks on Friday. Whoa, not next Friday. And then Jeff threw down the fact. You want to know the fact? Goes with the market. When Bitcoin moves up, if you want a moon, you better hope that Bitcoin hits 100,000 or 150,000. We got the halving coming up in 6 months, maybe 7. I don't know when that happens. What traditionally happens? We see a little bit of rise in the market. You want Bitcoin to be 300,000. You know why? Because the market's coming with it. You know what that means for altcoins? They're all going to go with it. That's a fact, and that's provable if you go back over the last 12 years of crypto. That's not an assumption, but littered and scattered throughout our opinions.
Give me that hopium, bro.
I know you want it. I know you want it. That's what I'm saying.
But we've done it. It is interesting. People love it. People love the FUD. People like the FOMO. That's just human nature. There's no, and that's any article, any media, any publicity. That's what it's all about. It's a lot of fun. We like to have fun with that as well. That's why we have such great, smart people that come in here. We have the best and the brightest in all of YouTube crypto space, which is awesome. The best, and the smartest.
Liz Taylor said, I started asking the people for receipts on their BS if they're going to post it. Good. You know what? I'm seeing that too. And all you have to say is they'll post I didn't realize this, but I was just clued into this recently, that if you post and it was actually Oscar Arneson that actually told us.
There they are.
They're there.
Want to know where the lemon trees are? They're there.
They're there. We just
when we go full screen. Whoops, I don't understand. Flip flops again. But there you go. Go.
The lemon trees are there.
Can't fit the lemon tree into the shot.
Yeah. Just experimenting with a new look. That's what we're trying to do. But like Jeff said, best and brightest guys. We love you guys coming in here and sharing your opinions. And if you don't agree with us, we like to throw that up there too. What makes the world go round is dialogue and people having a conversation. We're not all going to be lockstep and all think the same. But I think one of the things that does bring us together is the whole concept of decentralization. So decentralization.
Decentralized.
Do you agree with that, Jeff?
I do. It's good. If everybody agreed on everything all the time, it'd be really, really boring. And then we'd have nothing to talk about. That's the great thing. Someone said, oh, these guys like to hear themselves talk. What's the point of actually coming on here and having a show if we're not talking and we're not talking about stuff and we're not referencing stuff? That's the whole point, and it's we like to dissect stuff. We like to go to the facts. We like to have a good time with it. I think that's what's important. That's why people come here year after year. Chip sent me a link to a show from like 2 or 3 years ago. And we were looking at that show and I was looking at the chat. I'm like, oh my God, look at all the same, familiar faces from 2-3 years ago. We have a lot of new people that are here as well. And people love hanging out. That's the other part of it. We do this and Chip and I look and say, you know what, if we did short videos, 10, 15-minute videos, focus a little bit on the hopium, we'd probably have 10, 15, 20,000, 30,000 views on every video. But then people love hanging out. I love seeing the chat. I love having a platform where people can gather 3 days a week in a community and actually hang out with each other. And that's the coolest thing ever. We see people communicating and talking to each other, and we've built a community here that people can jump in and join and kind of enjoy the ride. And like Hans Lode is like, hey, bring Jim D on as a guest host. We'd love to do that, and we see people that stand out. Somebody wants to join as a guest host and, is consistently putting up some brilliant stuff in the chat. Hey, that's awesome. That it's really cool to see the community that's being built here. Would we love to have 15, 20,000 views per video? Yeah, of course, but there you go.
We just want to pay the bills. It's not like Jeff and I, we do this because it's a great outlet for us. But more so too, it's just the community. And the reason I originally went into doing this, like just getting on and start talking about stuff, is I wanted to learn about it. Best way to learn is to start doing it and start being involved. And it forces you to research, and it forces you to, not to the level that someone like a Solomon or Crypto Eddie. Jeff and I are both pretty busy with families. So believe it or not, the show does take time, and it does take time to put together. We are putting the White Tribe together for Badass Yetis. Jeff and I have invested a lot of time. So there's a lot of different ways. If you like the show, show up here, tweet it out, share it with your friends. That's the best way you can support the show. That's how we find new people here. And sometimes they see a ridiculous, when is it going to move in 21, whatever it was, 35 or whatever. That's how they find the show. But the best way you can do it is just share it with people, and we appreciate all of the members who click the join and have been here for months and months and months. We appreciate that. That helps the show. But there's plenty of ways. You don't want to spend your XRP? Great. Go down there. You can go to Supermojo and you can buy one. It's a little too complicated, the NFT thing. Great. They open a wallet for you. You can buy it with fiat. You want to support the show? You like coffee? Buy coffee, right? So you like XRP merchandise? On the chain .shop. It's all down in the chat below. It doesn't have to be. It's any way you want to support it. We've given you a bunch of different outlets, and thanks to you guys, we have been able to branch out and do other things with the Badass Yetis and all that.
So Liz Taylor been around since 2021. Hans has been on since 2020, which is awesome. And we appreciate all of you guys as well. You guys are amazing out there. And like Chip said, we're working on some interesting things. We did put together that NFT project. That was something, I'd love to go back and we'll do a video just on everything that we had to learn to roll out an NFT. We work the hard way. We're working on another interesting project, testing some of the NFTs out. But we have the white tribe of the Badass Yetis. The blue tribe is out there. Though there will be a cutoff date on this. We don't know what that date is yet, but there's going to be a 1-for-1. So if you own a blue tribe NFT, you'll get a white tribe, which is very cool.
If you own five blues, you're going to get 5 whites. So
5 white tribe. Yep.
And once we get closer to the date, there will be a cutoff date. So once we actually mint the white tribe, that cutoff date will happen. So, and we want to make sure we talk about it now, because when Unchained Elephants, we did a great. They came, and were willing to give away to any of the holders of the blue tribe, an Unchained Elephant. And it's just difficult because of blockchain. It's not like when somebody purchases something, you have their email and you send out an email blast that says, hey, good news. All you have to do is do these 3 things and you get a free NFT because you already own a blue tribe member. So we want to talk about it ahead of time. So people are like, we didn't know about it. Well, we'll tweet about it. We'll let you know it's going to be 1-to-1. You own 7, 8, some people own 10, 11 Yetis. You'll get 11 white tribe members, which is awesome. So
check this one out, Chip. Devon Steve is saying, been watching Jeff before he got together with Chip. That was during the HODL report. And I used to do those short videos and then did some live streaming.
Just for fun, Jeff, we should go
wear
back.
A suit most of the time.
Let's do that. Let's do that tomorrow, Jeff. Let's go back into the archive. I'll throw a couple of the XRP minutes up there.
Fun. Yes.
I used to do an XRP minute, which was never a minute, but always a fun thing. We'll have some fun with that.
X-Spectre been watching us since the beginning. Also, it had to change his alias because of scammers. That's interesting too. It's very cool to look at all the commentary here and just see, here's somebody brand new here, or maybe been on, but coming in from El Paso, Texas, coming into the chat here with us. Very, very cool. X-Spectre own 10 or 11. Will this be an automatic drop? Thanks.
It won't be an automatic drop. We'll get you more details, but it's more or less like since it's going to be on XRP.cafe, I think it's I forget what they call it, but you actually have to go there to claim it. It's not. There's no way to, again, because it's blockchain, because we're not scanning the. I don't think there's a way to make it automatic. Believe me, I wish there was, because when you do something like this, you give away stuff, or even when we give away a Yeti, trust me, there's a lot of
it was so difficult.
It's a lot of extra work. It's like, okay, you got to go here, you got to do this, you got to send it, you got to make sure you get the wallet address, you got to make sure automating the process. I think they call it like a white mint or an open mint. There's a name for it, but they can tell if you have in your wallet, if you've got a Yeti, you can do a 1-to-1. We'll find out more details on how that's going to work, but I know other projects have done it. We want to make it as painless as possible.
Yeah, it'll be easy. I'm tech challenged, so please make it easy. If we have to, we'll make a short video on the how-to tutorial, or we'll go over it. But I'm sure it'll be relatively easy. I don't think it'll be super complex.
No, we will definitely do that this time, to make a short video.
How did the process go with the elephants? So we actually were able to have some elephants go to badass YETIS holders.
Yeah.
And so I think that required a register. You had to register to make that happen, and they were able to double check on that as well.
Yeah,
But in
you
this
went to the
case, it'll be a little
Discord.
bit different.
Yeah, that was a little more complicated. It was a little more, I know some people, and a lot of it is because they actually received it. In other words, they did the work. They went to the Discord for Unchained Elephants. They submitted the ticket. They put their wallet address, right? They, because there was already a snapshot. So Daniel over the Unchained Elephants already knew where some of the complication came in. And I felt bad because people reached out saying, I know one buddy of mine reached out and he said, hey, I don't see it. Well, what didn't realize was there the whole time, but you had to click on this thing, then you had to click on another tab, then you had to click on accept, then you had to go, and like you had to actually do something to actually accept it. So this is not that easy. That's why I say, like, hey,
It's not super
if getting an
straightforward.
NFT is complicated, go to Supermojo. Supermojo, you put your email in there, you put your payment information, boom, you get a wallet with your badass Yeti minted in there. That's how simple it is. Supermojo, it's down there in the comments.
And that Supermojo is easy. And I think one of the still hold off factors of adoption on all of this is the fact that it's for mainstream. Most people are not, as they want to say it, tech savvy. You know, they think it's going to be more difficult than maybe it is. But like you said, it's just a matter of knowing how to navigate the app and how to navigate where you're going to find stuff. Not all the apps have been made to be easy to use for mainstream. I think, you know, you have to dig in a little bit and find it.
Look how many new people have brought in just by being, guys, we're just being funny. That's all. But we're having a little bit of fun because of all the weird hopium going on out there. We're like, let's put the most outlandish thing we can think about. Because when we put fact-based stuff, the lowest attended show ever, it's like, oh, who wants to go watch that? So yeah, we're just having a bit of fun, Simon. Thank you for popping in. Appreciate it.
Michael Murphy watched an archive video before OTC.
We're that young. We're like 20 years ago.
Yeah, pretty young.
What I want to do is a compilation video on the
like
evolution of my hair. My
That-
hair has changed over like all kinds of weird hairstyles, Jeff. It's like, what the hell?
That's funny.
Now my hair is super long, so it's like, what are you gonna do?
Man, this has been fun. This is good. You know, it's interesting that we're talking about the NFTs and what goes into all the different navigation of these different platforms and everything. You know, that's a video. You know, that's a specific video. We'll have to put something together on that. Navigating the NFT
Chuck,
marketplace.
You see that right there?
Oh,
So hello, but it says LOL 2120. That's the spirit. It's supposed to be funny and ridiculous because that's what's out there today is the ridiculousness of it. So Sophie says,
remember when you get 1,000 likes in an hour? Good days.
Yeah, well, that's you know, a bull run. Bear market doesn't get that. What was I? Oh, right here. Please make it so I don't have to use my 2FA with my pager. Pager. Everyone doesn't know what a pager is. It's those little device you carried around and somebody could call it and it would put the number of the person that called you. That was before mobile. And you're like, oh, someone's trying to get a hold of me. They just paged me. That was funny, Jeff.
I love pagers. I love this one from Hans Loaded though. What if tech barrier to entry is the new survival of the fittest?
You may have a point there, Hans. Yeah, there's something there.
In 2025, there'll be no humans on the planet. Only transgender Homo sapiens.
Right, because
or just AI.
And the best part about that, Jeff, is don't worry, they'll reproduce. Oh, wait, what? What are you saying? Bomb, hit the like button. Yeah, it's good advice right there. But that's it. That's it. New investor says LMAO will laugh my ass off. Beautiful. Love that. Guys, that's all we have. We went a little bit over, but we're having a little bit of fun. So
it's all good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll try to pull up some old vintage Chip and Jeff stuff, which will be cool.
We'll go back to let's go back to your first video. Let's go back to my first video. It's going to be a joke. It'll be hilarious. I was looking at the last show and Jeff was like, we've come a long way because, and I was, if you think I'm not focused now, you should have seen that. I was all over the place, especially that one bitch. If you're talking about asking me one thing and all of a sudden I went off on a thing about cassettes. It was great.
Oh, cassettes. Did someone say cassettes?
Thank you for Oscar for surfacing that, because he was the one that was asking about the theme song. Remember? Dun, 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 dun. What happened to that, Jeff? We don't have that in here anymore.
We don't have the timer anymore, mainly because we kept getting pinged on every time we'd play that timer, they would get us on a copyright violation.
Even though we paid for the music.
Here's the countdown's here. I don't know if this is the same countdown. This might be it, but they would crush us. No, I think that was that was our countdown, but they would crush us on the we buy the music and they would crush us on the copyright. We'd have to go through it's crazy. But did someone say
the usual, sir?
Please.
Sorry.
Blues. What's really, we'll have to go back in time. What do I see? There's something about a Yeti. Oh, someone just, interesting. Okay, very good. Someone just purchased a badass Yeti. What did they buy? They bought a, I can't see the one, but they bought a, can't even see what that is, make it out, but yeah, someone just purchased the Yeti.
Oh, sweet. Thank you for your Yeti acquisition, joining the Yeti tribe. If you join the Yeti tribe, go to the Discord. You guys got to join the Discord if you're in the Yeti mindset. There's going to be a lot of cool things that are going to happen here in the future with the Yetis. We're excited about the white tribe rolling out. We got the blue tribe, white tribe. Then there's a purple and a black tribe in the plans too that have been
a lot of badass stuff around the corner, Jeff.
A lot of badass stuff. We love the badass stuff. A lot of cool badass stuff. So it's very cool. It's very badass.
All we have, guys. That's all we have. We will see you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.